The Infant Department of Moorfoot Primary School present Teaching Children to Read and Write.
In Moorfoot Primary, the reading scheme we use is called Rigby Star in the early years. When children come to school, there's a lot of preparation work to be done before they use their first formal reading book. Our reading scheme is Rigby Star, and initially the children learn to read words by the look and say method. When we're using our look and say method, we use different techniques. We ask the children to look at the shape of the word. We ask them to look for any familiar sounds that may be in it. We ask them to look at the starting sound, and sometimes we ask them to draw a clue on their word. The 5 basic skills for reading and writing are learning the letter sounds, learning the letter formation, which is done hand in hand, blending, which they will go on to slightly later, identifying sounds in words, and spelling the tricky words. We teach the sounds in groups. The first group that we do, we call the SAT-PIN group. This group is the first group of sounds that are taught because we can make many words from these individual sounds. The pace we usually would go at is roughly 2 sounds a week, but we can increase it or decrease it as we feel the need to. There are songs that we put links to on our Twitter class pages, and as the children go on to learn these sounds, there will be songs that are linked to them that you can practice at home. They'll also have a sound jotter that will come home for you to practice the sounds with at night. As the children are learning to write as well as learning to read, we introduce our letter formation at a very early stage. We always encourage the children to hold the pencil correctly in what we call the tripod grip. This is between the thumb and the first 2 fingers. We always encourage them to write in lowercase apart from the first letter of their first name, which is a capital letter. It's very hard to unlearn something you've done the wrong way. Much easier to do it all in lowercase with a capital letter at the beginning. Once we've taught our initial group of sounds, the SAT-PIN group, we will then introduce the next skill the children need to learn, blending. Blending is a process of saying the sounds in a word and then running them together to make a word. For example, k-at, 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 cat. You'll notice that the sounds in Jolly Phonics are not introduced in alphabetical order. When the children are blending, it's a very difficult skill, and this part of the homework is basically down to the adult to sound out the words to let the child hear the individual sounds being run together to make a word. The children will do lots of work in school, lots of oral work, lots of work with magnetic boards and letters, and they will gradually build up the alphabet on their magnetic board. You will see a clip about this further on in the video. Once the children have been taught some basic skills in phonics and with word recognition, we will go on to spell what we call tricky words. These are introduced slightly later, and they're the words that cannot be sounded out or spelt correctly by listening for the sounds in them. The children become more fluent at reading and writing very quickly, and that's when they'll then be taught to cope with the tricky words. Words like was and said, which cannot be taught using the phonic rules. In the infant classes, your child will be issued with a weekly homework newsletter. We will also provide a folder for them to keep it in, and please make sure that they bring this to school every day. It all sounds like a great deal of work, but it does go in stages and it's spread out over a considerable period of time. Little and often's best. If your child is tired after school, don't worry. It's better to leave it than to push them too hard. But there is no doubt that the effort on your part at this stage is well worth it.